Hi, my name is Nyarazo Chauruva of My Money Project, and today I want to talk about financial discipline. But before I get into my topic in detail, I just want to share with you a scripture which I found very fascinating, and it's coming from the book of Hebrews, chapter 12, verse 11. It says, "No discipline is enjoyable while it is happening. It's painful, but afterward there will be a peaceful harvest of right living for those who are trained in this way." So, in a nutshell, no discipline is fun. It has to, because you are depriving yourself for a season. And so it can actually be a painful process. And that is what the scripture is just confirming, that discipline is not going to be easy. So, financial discipline is important for many reasons, but one of the reasons I like is that it prevents financial stress. We have heard of the stats how a lot of people have been diagnosed of hypertension or high blood pressure because of money issues. But when you have the discipline, it may be painful as you start, but later on you will thank yourself for being disciplined. So I want to just help you, also helping myself on how we can be disciplined when it comes to our financial resources. And one of the most important is having a budget and keeping the budget or sticking to the budget. I have spoken of different ways in which you can budget, the easiest being the 50-30-20 rule. Of course, that's not the all in all, but it is just one way, which is the easiest way for one to budget. And when you budget, it's very important that you stick to your budget. So if you say $500 will be going to my needs or maybe my groceries for the month, then if you exceed $500, that means there's no more money for groceries. If your children come and say, "Oh, we have run out of meat," the thing is, there's no more money for meat. You have exhausted the money for meat. But what then do you do? That is when you now go to another line and say, because I've spent here, it means I'm going to have less entertainment so that I can cover up for that which for the line I've overspent somewhere there. So that discipline, very important, so that you know when you say you have $500 to spend, that's it. Beyond that, there's nothing else that is coming. And another one is for you to automate your savings, because it can be a difficult one to maybe put aside savings every month. You can actually automate the whole process. You can automate through the bank. You tell the bank, for any amount which comes, transfer 10% to my savings account. Or you can say to your employer, of the salary I'm going to get, please transfer 10% to my savings account, or whichever account that you tell them. So that can actually help in creating that discipline. You automate the process. In other countries, I know that maybe when you spend a certain amount, or when there's change, maybe a change which is less than $1, it is automatically transferred to your savings account. So those become automated processes, and that can also help you to be disciplined with your money. Another one is learning to say no. Can you believe that? Just learning to say no requires discipline. I struggled with that for the longest time. Maybe I still do to some extent, but you know how it is. Maybe when someone comes and says, "Oh, I'm just selling this, I'm sure you like it," and somehow maybe you feel bad. He bought this one from me last time, let me also support him. And the next thing, you are buying outside of your budget. So learning to say no, of course, in a nice way, can actually be a good thing. It actually requires discipline for you to be able to say no. To say, yes, you've come with your goodies, but in the meantime, I don't have enough money, so I will come next week or next month or next next year when I have the resources. So learning to say no, very important. Another is to learn to track your spending. Of course, I did talk about the budget and sticking to the budget, but there's also the aspect of tracking your expenses. Very important, especially when you know that you are not yet there. When I say you're not yet there, you're probably trying to come out of debt, you're probably still trying to create a culture of saving, and you really don't know how you spend or your spending patterns. So it's important that you track. You can use different apps that are available online, or you can use our the most important, pen and paper. Just take out a notebook, write down as you spend. You could move around, and I used to do this with a small little notebook, which can be smaller than an A5. I don't know what size that is, maybe A6, and you'll be able to write down. When you go on a taxi, you're writing, I've spent $6. When you've gone into the grocery stores, you're saying, I've spent $10. When you go, for everything, try to track your expenses. And lastly, but of course not least, and not only the only ones that I have listed, but it's also very important to set financial goals. When you set financial goals, it helps your mind to also align, to have that discipline, because you know that I am setting aside so much for my children's education. And so, if you're to play around with that money, it means the children's education is affected. This could be school fees, this could be for a tournament or a trip that they are going to go for. So having a goal, to know I am saving for a particular goal, will help for you to remain disciplined as you pursue financial freedom. So financial discipline yields quite a lot of positive outcomes, and one of them, just having that peace of mind. We all need a peace of mind. Actually, we don't know how much we need peace of mind until we get into some stressful situations. But when you know that I am disciplined and that this is set aside, then you will have peace of mind. You also have the freedom to give. When you have no discipline and you're spending and you're always living paycheck to paycheck, you may not even have that flexibility to give to others or to practice generosity. And so when you are disciplined, besides the peace of mind, just being generous also becomes a benefit of this. And lastly, the rewards of financial discipline is achieving your goals. This could be paying off your debts, or maybe you've always wanted to buy something big. It could be your favorite vehicle, or revamping your kitchen for you ladies. When you have financial discipline, it helps you to achieve the goal that you would have set for yourself.